Hello, hello. Welcome back to Two Dumbbell Blondes. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Katie.
And before we get into today's episode, whatever platform you're listening on, please subscribe. Be sure to like and review. That helps us grow. And I'm going to kick it back over to Katie to introduce our guest today.
So today we have the one and only Leslie Fhima, and many of you may know Leslie from The Golden Bachelor, but I've known Leslie now for many years, and I know her as the dancing queen, and in my opinion, one of the true OGs of the fitness world in the Twin Cities. So Leslie, we are super excited to have you here to learn more about your journey and what you've learned along the way. So let's kick it off by just talking about how you got into health and fitness, both personally and professionally.
Well, thank you guys for having me first and foremost. I'm so excited to be here. I'm doing a podcast about something I really know about. Finally,
I bet you've been on a lot of podcasts, and
I have.
most of them not about health and fitness for women, which is like your bread and butter.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, good. I know how to talk about this. Just talk from my heart. But I guess my fitness journey really started when I was 8 years old, because I went to a birthday party, and it was a skating birthday party, and we skated, and we had to rent the skates, and all these kids were on skates, and we didn't know how to skate, and I was hanging on to the side, and I'm like, oh, I can't, this is really hard. Anyways, long story short, the day I came home from that birthday party, even though I couldn't really skate, I said to my mom and probably my dad at that time, I said, I want to go skating tomorrow. And they're like, skating? It's like, I think it was like spring, it wasn't even in the middle of winter. And I'm like, yep, I want to go skating tomorrow. And that just started my whole skating career. I never stopped after that day. I made them sign me up for classes. And I skated my whole life. And I would then fast forward to my senior year in high school. I tried out for the Ice Follies, which is a professional skating show, which is actually now Disney on Ice. It was bought, and it was the Ice Follies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I skated with the Ice Follies. I literally left a week after I graduated. I tried out in April, right before my graduation. Like when the show would come to town, they'd have tryouts in every city. And I tried out. And then, 2 months or 3 months later, I'm gone. I'm a professional figure skater.
And so then you went around the country as a professional figure skater with the Ice Follies?
Actually the world. The country with Ice Follies. So I pretty much every city. Our particular show didn't go to the South, but we went to every major city for 2 years. Spent the summers in Sacramento rehearsing. And then I went into Holiday and Ice, which was a European show. And I started in Europe, and we ended up in South America.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
How long did you do that for?
The total of 3 years.
Mm-hmm. What an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was great. It's a hard life. Not as glamorous as it looks, obviously. A lot of, this will segue into how I got into fitness, because skating was my life. I didn't really think it was my fitness. I also danced. We all of the skaters danced as well. We took ballet, we took everything. But then, as show people sometimes do, you drink and smoke a lot. And we were drinkers and smokers. And that was, so my first year in the Ice Follies, we drank and smoked a lot. And I remember we woke up in San Bernardino, California, where it's not the healthiest air. and I woke up, it's probably better now, but in 1978, it wasn't so good. And I couldn't breathe, because I think I probably smoked a pack of cigarettes the night before. Really. And I couldn't breathe. And so I took myself to the mall that day. I completely remember. I was very independent. I did things by myself a lot. I bought a pair of Nike running shoes with a red swoosh. I put them on and I started running. And I would run every time we get to a city. I would either run in the city or I'd run around the stadium that we played. And then, of course, I got shin splints because I was on concrete. But anyways, that started my running career. And then I became a marathon runner.
And yeah, I actually was looking at how many marathons have you ran?
I've 10 marathons. Yes,
Wow.
Where have they
including
been?
Boston.
Okay. Oh wow, you qualified.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is, I ran Twin Cities Marathon, and I was training with a friend of mine, and he said, "You got to eat a lot of bagels and spaghetti. You got to carbo load." So I was the heaviest I've ever been in my life, but I did a really good time, and I qualified for Boston.
I have a very similar story. I did a marathon in college. Same thing. It was like carb, 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 carb.
Yeah.
Heaviest I've ever been, but I could run.
I can't even believe now that I ran at that weight and qualified. I ran like a 3:40. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how I did that. But then all of a sudden, I crossed the finish line. I don't know. I just want to do one, right? And he says, "Leslie, you just qualified for Boston Marathon." I'm like, "Well, when is that?" And I didn't know anything about it. And he goes, "April." I said, "April? It's October. I'm not running another marathon." He goes, "Oh, yes, you are." And so I did. And I had to train all winter long, which is a little different than training in the summer. And I say I walked the Boston Marathon because there's a lot of walking involved in that one.
So wait, your very first marathon ever, you qualified for Boston?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
At my heaviest weight.
That's a story.
Incredible.
It's just crazy.
Okay, so let me ask you, when you started running, because it was 1978, right? We don't know what we know now. So when you went and bought those Nikes with the red swoosh and you started running, did you stop smoking or did you still smoke?
Oh, that was the last day I smoked.
Oh, good for you. You were like
absolutely
cold turkey.
No.
Like, I can't breathe.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Oh, no. I couldn't breathe. I woke up. I threw the rest of my cigarettes out. And then all my friends who were still back at smoking and drinking were like, "What are you doing?" They just didn't understand. I'm like, I always think of the funny line from, Anchorman, "I'm jogging." I'm jogging. I'm jogging.
Yes.
It was called jogging. I'm going for a jog. And
Yes.
they, and so some of them actually joined me, and so I got people kind of interested in exercise, and then the show saw me getting in shape and doing all this exercise, and they're like, "Well, we want you to work out the cast before the show." So I get up and I was making shit up. I don't know.
I mean, you fake it until you make it. I say that all the time.
That's my
fake
line.
It. Yes.
Fake it till you make it. I was faking it. I was completely faking it. And I'm like, and then when I got out of the show, I'm like, I'm going to make this a career. So I went to LA for 2 weeks. I have family there. I must have stayed with somebody. I don't remember. And I went to Jane Fonda's class for 2 weeks straight.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I plagiarized her class.
And then did you move home to the Twin Cities?
Oh, yeah. Well, then I got married, and then my husband, Brad, and we opened up Leslie's Shape Shop, and I basically taught Jane Fonda's method.
I feel like we're going to need to post some photos of this time when you were in Jane Fonda's class for 2 weeks.
I don't have photos of that, but I have photos of me in the 80s with, I had a short hair. I looked like a lost member of Duran Duran. I mean, I don't know.
But I think going back to your story about the cigarettes and buying the Nikes, we talked to a guy, Mike, about nutrition recently, and he was saying that like it's so hard for people to decide to get on the health and fitness journey because you really have to commit. Like it has to become who you are. And for you, it was like you woke up and you were like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm going to do something different. And look at that moment probably catapulted you into where you are today. And it was you deciding like, I want something better for myself. I don't want to wake up and feel like shit anymore. And now look at you. So that is just amazing.
So you said,
let's just make sure we understand. I didn't quit drinking, but no, I mean, no, but it wasn't really the drinking. Yes. I've never been a big drinker. It wasn't really drinking, but that smoking, I was like, I feel like crap. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
And
I
you
was done.
decided to make a change. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
So
done.
you had been
Yeah.
professionally skating and then you
Mhm.
kind of, went quickly in a transition of opening your own place. What
Mhm.
happened in between there? Like, why did you stop skating? Was it just a decision like, hey, I'm ready to move on from this? Or like, what did that transition look like?
Well, I was in South America. I was in Argentina, and my then boyfriend, but then my husband, Brad, who wasn't my husband yet, my boyfriend, he came to visit me there. And it was very much, you're really on your own there because everyone's from a different country, not like the ice volleys where everyone's from the States. And so some of us girls, not me, but some of us girls had a little eating disorder and they weren't eating. So when they ate, they would get these really bad stomach aches. The food or the vegetables would be rotting in your stomach. I don't know, whatever. But so anyways, we were at a disco and he's visiting me and I'm like, this is great. I'm in South America with my boyfriend and we're dancing and I'm at a disco and I'm like, oh shoot, I have that thing. How can I have that thing? I'm eating. I'm not, you know, anyways, long story short, I had an emergency appendectomy and he saved my life because I passed out.
In
And yeah,
Argentina.
yes, he had to get me to a doctor. My mom had to wire money before the surgeon would do anything. Literally, I woke up and I woke up with flies buzzing around my head. I didn't know where I was. Anyway, long story short, I had to leave the show about 3 months early, which is really unfortunate because I wanted to get to Brazil during the carnival. That was our last stop. But he took me home and we got engaged and, we got married and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And then I went to LA and did all that and came back and we opened up a studio together.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
then you opened a studio. You had the studio for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and in that time, you competed for the what's the title? The aerobic
Well,
champion, queen of the world.
it was it was called the Crystal Light National Aerobic Championship because Crystal Light sponsored it at that point. And it had
So
changed throughout the years. But yeah.
what do you have to do to qualify for that? Like, what do you do to compete for that?
Well, there were different categories, and my friend David Gray, who was teaching for me, was now unfortunately, passed on. He was my best friend, died of AIDS. But we entered in the mixed pair competition, and so that's obviously a girl and a guy. And then there was like preliminaries or whatever at the mall at Southdale Mall. I remember we had to go there, and there's a stage, and we had to compete, and there were judges. Anyways, we made it all the way to the finals, and yeah, and then we went to LA and we won, and we were on TV, and it was a whole big thing. Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
that
two
was amazing.
things. One, did you have a thong leotard on?
No thong, but I had those shiny tights and it kept going up my butt. But not thong, no thong.
And
No.
so I don't know if either of you know the movie Girls Just Want to Have Fun with
Oh
Sarah
yeah.
Jessica Parker.
I love that movie.
Dance TV. I watched that
Yeah.
movie and I
Yeah.
didn't know that this was a part of your journey, Leslie. So in my head, you like lived my favorite movie of all time. Like that was
Yes.
you.
That was
And
me.
that is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Lindsay, it like was I'm a little older than you, but you should watch it because it was like my childhood. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, dance
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
I have some homework.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you won this competition and
Yeah.
like did that provide you other opportunities or what did that
Oh
mean
yeah.
for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It provided us both. Actually, the competition took us we went to Italy, we went to Japan, Korea. We like actually taught as a team. Like there was a mixed pair, which was me and David as singles, which was Michelle. And then the team, which were three other girls. So David was the only guy. So we had so much fun and we went all over and taught big, huge groups of people. Like,
It
I mean,
like
it was just
reminds me of like a precursor of the Zumba, like what they do now
oh,
with Zumba. Like that, like you
totally.
were again the
Yeah.
OG. Very
No,
cool. So
totally.
you went
Yeah.
worldwide and taught and did all of those things.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Um, so did you still have your studio at that time?
I did have my studio at that time. And, obviously, I had to leave and other people were teaching. Because when you have your own studio, you teach a lot because if people can't show up, you're the one that's teaching,
Yeah.
But I did travel a lot. Yeah. And then I think there was more things coming after I closed the studio. I was still doing things for the show. I mean, not call it the show. I got two things going on. The competition, and they sent us to Italy. I remember, and yeah, it was after because I got pregnant, and I was doing some of these things pregnant. You know, yeah. So
Wow. So, okay. So then what came next?
then what came next was I just after we closed the studio, I taught for different people. I taught at the firm. I taught at the sweatshop. I started my private client personal training. I had a lot of clients, so that was great. And then I did a lot of choreography, like for videos. I did some for Mary Hart, which Mary Hart was she was from Entertainment Tonight. She was the host.
I remember
And
Mary Hart.
and yeah, and Avon had her do all these exercise videos. So I choreographed all those videos for her. They sent me to LA and then and New York, and I did some for Kathy Smith. And so, yeah, and I did a couple of my own. So yeah, I choreographed exercise videos.
So Katie kind of kicked it off in saying, you're known as the dancing queen, and I, like, from what I know, a lot of dancing as well. When you would coach classes or teach classes then or now, what are some of the different formats that you do? So obviously dance is a big
Yeah.
one. What else
Yeah.
do you teach?
So I do bar. I kind of started the bar classes for Lifetime so many years ago at the Uptown Studio. And, I didn't like say, oh, this is how you teach, but I kind of like, I want to teach this class, and I just started teaching it. And so I teach bar. I've always taught water aerobic classes in the summer for people. I've gone to their pools, taught that. Pilates. I'm a Pilates instructor, certified Pilates instructor. So I've done that and my dance. And then, I'm not Katie, but I've taught different formats of, weights and things like that.
So you've seen it all, like from the
Yeah.
beginning to now,
Yeah.
and fitness. Lindsay and I have talked a lot about this, even since I've been in, I got into, started working for Lifetime in 2006. So even
Yeah.
in almost 20 years, what we know, how we trained, what we do, everything has changed. So
Yeah.
when you think back from the early 80s or
Mhm.
1978, when you bought those
Mhm.
shoes, like what are the biggest themes that you've seen changed, or what for an aging woman, or like I don't know, maybe even what I'm asking, but
Yeah.
how has it evolved for you from
Mhm.
the high-low aerobics that you are the
Mhm.
grand national
Mhm.
champion of the world to now?
I know exactly that answer, to be honest. Zumba actually changed my life because I got certified in Zumba, and then, because I love to dance. So I'm like, oh, this is good. This is good. And it took off, obviously. And I taught at the Jewish Community Center, and then I taught Zumba at Lifetime. And then I don't know. I was just started going, I'm so tired of this music. But everyone loves it, but I'm tired of every song being more of a, that kind of thing. And I remember, I'm not sure who my superior was at that time, but I remember going into their office and then paying $30 a month and I'm actually like, I don't want to do that choreography. I want to do my own choreography. I want to use my own music. And I remember saying, can I just do kind of like Zumba, but call it something else and use my own music and use my own choreography? And whoever that person was, I can't remember, it was so long ago, said, absolutely. We don't have to pay for $30 a month anymore. So then I called it Urban Pop, which turned into now Lifetime says, uses Dance Jam. But for me, that was huge because I got to dance the way I love to dance. People were having the best time. They weren't jumping up and down. I mean, I made it, some of the songs I made a little bit more aerobic, and people were getting a good workout. And for me, it was like, this is my dream come true. And I'm still teaching that class.
Well,
So I just love it.
from personal experience, for a little while, I was like, I don't know if I was a general manager, or the group fitness manager when we worked together,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Leslie's class, like people would, it was like people sought it out and people came
Yeah.
because it was such a feel good class and the energy
Yeah.
that you can even feel through the computer screen. I mean, you're just so dynamic.
Yeah.
But that leads me into that was pre-COVID that we worked together. And I think
Yeah.
one of the funnest things to watch was you and your company, is it called 612 Soul or
Soul 612.
Six Soul? Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember during the weird COVID times, and obviously
Yeah.
fitness was a big thing for
Yeah.
so many of us, and it was our
Yeah.
community, and it was like, now I can't
Exactly.
go to the gym and be with my friends. You
Right.
created this incredible community where you could be outside and you were
Mhm.
dancing. That was during
Mhm.
COVID, right? Where you just
Yeah,
like, and you did all these pop-ups, and
I
the
did.
community that you have built around you and like the dancing community has been so fun to watch and so powerful to
Thank
see.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I have, when I look around and I see, oh, Danny's going out with this person, and they're having drinks and they met in class. And then this group, they're going on a trip and they met in class. And, I also do fitness retreats and I've done like 9 of them. And then people come to those retreats and they leave with best friends. And so I just wanted, especially during COVID, and not every city had COVID and George Floyd. And, we had that terrible time. And that's why I call it 612, because 612 is the area code of Minneapolis. And I just wanted to bring, and my tagline was, um, you know, a city of fitness, because I just wanted to bring people together and make them happy. We had all this heaviness on us, and that was kind of my goal.
I think
Yeah.
what you're hitting on is often an overlooked aspect of health and fitness. Like a lot of people get into it because they want to lose weight or they want to look a
Yeah.
certain way, right? But we
Yeah.
easily overlook that social connection and that
Yes.
need. And like, if anything, during that time of COVID is when we needed it the most. And
Yeah.
you can feel that even post COVID, that it is such an outlet for people from like a mental standpoint too,
Yes.
that we don't talk about enough.
No, no. And it was like, I don't know. I saw people come in heavy, sad, and then leave happy. And for me, that is more than like, oh, they're getting in shape. They're getting their mind free of, what was going on. And whether it's COVID, George Floyd, or just things in our own personal life, it was a tough time. And it's still tough. I mean, people come in, I know that they say to me all the time, you don't know what you've done for me. I mean, I'm sure you guys hear that too. Like, you make me so happy, and this dancing makes me happy, and the music, and making friends. And I don't know. It was a wonderful thing I felt that I could do for the community, for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, to that point though, because what you brought up I think is very real for people in the industry. Do you
Mhm.
ever feel like like you need to uphold a certain thing or like that people rely on you a lot and it's like pressure almost? Do you feel
You,
that?
I don't feel that way. I wish they'd rely on me more sometimes, because like my kids rely on me and my dog relies on me, but I want them to do that. And like, I'm not saying I'm not popular anymore, but things have evolved. I mean, before COVID, I got an award for having like the 5th or 4th biggest class in lifetime in the country, because I had 90 people in class. I'm sure I'd have more, but no one could fit. And, so now when I don't have that, it's kind of places. I'm like, nobody cares about me anymore. Or, when I'm teaching a smaller class, I just have to go, you know what? I'm touching these people instead of,
Yeah.
90 people. I'm touching 15 people or whatever.
Mhm.
So, I kind of liked it. It was part of I don't know, I kind of just always had that, always, with when I had my studio, or having kids, you're used to people relying on you.
But I think I understand that very well because when
Mhm.
you are in and when you get on stage and you are performing and you are putting on this
Mhm.
class,
Yeah.
it is we are there for other people, but we
Yes.
also have egos. Like we
Yeah.
also it makes us feel good. So
Yeah.
I truly feel that in my soul when you
Yeah.
speak to that. I
Thank
want
you.
to, I think, so you said you're 65, almost 66.
Yeah.
And you going onto the Golden Bachelor and the energy that you exude and the spark and spirit that you have, I think I'm sure that you realize this now, but you showing the world that it doesn't matter whether you're 25, 35, or 65, that
Yeah.
that spark and that light doesn't have to leave. And you
Yeah.
can, and I think watching you and seeing you, and obviously I know you personally, but you just have something that a lot of people don't have. Like you have that
Oh.
spark, and it's like, well, I want to wake up every day and have that energy, and I want
Mm-hmm.
to put that out. So even though
Yeah.
you maybe are not, you don't have 90 people in the
Yeah.
studio
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are influencing the whole country just by who you are and what you've shown can be
Thank you.
possible.
Yeah. And I love that. And more than anything, I love when younger people come up to me, which they do all the time. Like, I'm not afraid to get old. I'm not afraid to grow old because you make it look so great, or I want to be like you when I get older, and I'm not afraid now. And I love that. I mean, that, for some reason, younger people were or are, I don't know, from the show, obsessed with me. And it's funny because I get it all the time. I watch this with my mom and I'm like, oh, sure, I know you have to put your mom in there, but you were watching it, but,
It's so
yeah,
true.
it's a lovely sentiment. And I never get tired of hearing that because I mean, I teach young kids. I used to teach preschool kids. I used to have a company called KidFit. Like, I love teaching young people and getting them into fitness and health and motivating them. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I
Hmm.
know we talked a little bit before we got on here, but you had talked about recently, how you were investing in yourself. And I think what you're hitting on is that in order for you to provide this spark and this inspiration and be all these things to all these people, you also have to take care of yourself. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more like present day, because we know like you stopped smoking, you ran, you did all these things, right? So like present day, what are some things that you're doing to really take care of yourself so that you can show up as your best?
Well, it's kind of a culmination of things. I have 3 grandkids, and to be honest, I rather be with them than anybody. Like when I'm with them, I feel whole. It's such a weird. I love my children. Don't get me wrong, but I always say having children is a vehicle for grandchildren. I'm like, and I got to my end game right here. No, but I love them. I feel like I can give them memories, and we do fun things together. And I want them to always go. I'm Glamma, not Grandma. I'm Glamma.
That
So
fits you perfectly.
I love when they're gonna think, oh, Glamma taught me how to snowboard. Glamma taught me how to do this, or I mean, I have my little traditions with each and every one of, or 3 of them. I have my traditions with them, so I want to be honest. That keeps me going and young and wanting to like stay young for them. And and I work out. I teach my classes, but I walk my dog every day. I don't run anymore. I swim every day. And like I was saying before, I got a personal trainer, which was so fun for me because I've never done that. Um, I used to teach Pilates, but now I'm taking reformer classes, which like it's so different than teaching it, and I love that. So yeah, Lauren at Target Center is a fabulous Pilates instructor, by the way. I love her so much. And, I just, I started doing those kind of things myself, like taking Katie's class. And I took Jeremiah's class last week. I had never done that before.
Isn't
And
that
so that's,
so funny?
yeah.
From when we are so immersed in the fitness world and when we
Mhm.
teach and we give so much,
Yeah.
sometimes like people talk about like I don't have time to work out, I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time to eat
Right.
healthy. And from our standpoint, we're so immersed in it and
Mhm.
we give so much because it's what we love to do that
Yeah.
sometimes we forget about us and when
Exactly.
we are teaching, it is not the same as when we
No.
are actually taking time for ourselves. So
Yeah.
I love that you bring up, like, you are still giving, but you seem to be prioritizing you more
Yeah.
and
I
making
am.
sure that, like the strength training you're getting and the Pilates, not just from being in a
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes to
Mhm.
no matter no matter who you are, no matter
Yeah.
what your challenges are, we all have them. And
Yeah.
prioritizing yourself is so important as you age. I mean, at any age, but especially
Yeah.
to be almost 66 and to be you, like finally, you're prioritizing yourself, which is
Yeah.
really great.
I think
And
that's
you have
another.
to, you
Oh,
know.
I was gonna say, I think that's another message from you, Leslie, is that as people age, I think they get scared to try new things, and you're doing the
Mhm.
exact opposite. You are
Yeah.
trying all the new things right now,
Yeah.
and you're curious, and you want to explore, and you want to expose your body to different things. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, I'm old, and my body can't do stuff, so I'm just gonna sit on the
Yeah.
couch."
And that's true. I mean, I hear that all the time. Well, you snowboard, you surf, you do this. I'm like, well, I mean, yes, I am active and I am athletic, but you don't have to go surfing, but try something new, try something different, whether it's, a pole dancing class or
Yeah.
Katie's class or whatever. I mean, just try something new. And I also feel like I surround myself. I have younger friends. I have a lot of younger friends. Plus, my children are my best friends. So I literally do a lot with my kids and my daughter-in-law and my son Zach works for Live Nation. So I go to a lot of concerts and that is my love. I love live music. So I try to I'm not going to sit on the couch. You got to get up.
So I
Gotta
have
get up.
a little detour here because you mentioned earlier Zumba and how you didn't want to keep teaching it because of the music. And so when you said that, I was like, I wonder what Leslie's hype songs are. Like if you need to get a crowd going and you
That's
have
a
a class,
good question.
like what are your go-to? You could name like your top 3 songs. Like what are they?
Oh, well, anything by Dua Lipa is my top 3 songs.
Love Dua.
Illusion is my new favorite song.
So good.
And love that song. And I have a great dance to that song. And every time I dance to that song or I'm in my class, I'm like, I'm it, man.
Leslie, I need to come dance with you. I need to come dance with you.
I got it. So when I go to my fitness photo shoot today, I'm just putting that song on the loop.
Yes.
She's got good
but
stuff.
She has
Yeah.
great stuff.
I don't know. I love that song. I love her and I've seen her like 3 times in concert. And so does my granddaughter loves her. And, so I don't know. I guess that would be my hype song right now.
All
Love
right.
that.
We might have to change the intro song just for this episode.
Yes. We'll take it.
Yeah.
So Leslie, as we wrap this up, is there, like, if you were to give one message to our listeners, what would that be?
I would say just, like we touched on, try new things, get off the couch. We didn't touch on my dating life, but it's non-existent. But I'm good.
So
I'm gonna keep working on it.
If anybody listening has a perfect match for Leslie, you can hear her energy. Yeah, reach out.
I always make a joke. I'm like, I got tired of the dating app, so I went on national TV, and that didn't work either. But so just get off the couches. I know that sometimes. Listen, yesterday I didn't get off. I wanted a night to myself, but when someone asks you to do something, do it. Try new things. Be active. Move your body, and get young friends.
Yeah. I love that. So what's next for you?
Oh my gosh. I do fitness retreats. So I have one coming up in January. It's sold out. I'm going to Costa Rica again. And I actually am going to plan another one to Portugal next summer. So those are things that I love to do. Again, it's a lot of bonding. People make friends. It's, I teach my little classes in the morning. I'll do a water class in the afternoon, but it's not all about fitness. It's about having fun and, people can drink, no smoking, but people can drink. It's not one of those yoga retreats, but it's more about just having fun and,
bringing people together. You
yeah.
bring that community together.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
And
like someone's told me a long time ago that I was a connector, and I do feel I am. So, yeah.
you truly are.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So if people want to reach out to you or find a class to dance illusion, whatever.
Katie, you got
I
it,
mean,
girl.
I know. Where
The
can
the
they?
hips have to go with it though. So
Okay,
yeah,
I'll work
there you
on
go.
that when I stand up. Where can people find you?
Basically my website, soul612.com. I always have my schedule, my retreat schedule, all that stuff.
Great. And are you on Instagram if they want to follow you?
I am. I'm Leslie Fhima on Instagram. Please follow me. And I'm also on Facebook. I have Soul 612 Facebook group. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Leslie. I know Katie knew you
Oh,
coming into this. I enjoyed getting to know you better. You
oh,
are
thank
like
you.
all the
Isn't she
things she
just
said.
such a light? She's
She is
such a
definitely
light.
she is a
Mm.
spark. She is a
Yeah.
spark.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are very good for my ego, especially right now. I
It's
needed
true.
that.
But Leslie, and I just need to say this quickly. And I mean, your one son works for Live Nation. I know your other son who is in the hospitality business.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And he like, I understand like every time I talk to you, cause he's so much, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, I know.
Like he's
I know.
such a light as well. And just like brings people in and he's such a
He is.
connector. And
He is.
it's just so fun to just see
Yes.
the impact you've made, obviously within your family, but also
Thank
within
you.
our community. So thank you
Thank you.
so
I
much
appreciate
from the bottom
that.
of my
Yes.
heart for being
Oh,
on.
so sweet. Thank you, guys.
And then
I really appreciate it.
I was going to say, if anyone wants to connect further with Leslie, hit up her Instagram, her Facebook. And if you want to connect with us, it's twodumbbellblondes.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Two Dumbbell Blondes.
Well, thanks, you guys. We will talk to you next time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.